Hey, this is Derica, your host on the Happiness Recipe Show 2.0, where top experts are sharing their personal stories of breaking through their own fears and resistance and into living their happy life, and how you can do the same. I'm very excited to speak with my fellow hypnosis colleague, Alex Morgan. Thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm excited.
This is very exciting, you guys. I always say, please, you know Derica by now. Blue pen, white paper. There's going to be some magical notes dropped here, and you don't want to miss them. All right, for those of you who have not met Alex yet, I am going to dive into his lovely bio, and then we'll dive into those juicy questions. Okay? So here we go. Alex Morgan has a passion to teach and train hypnosis as a certified hypnosis instructor with the ICBCH. After achieving his own results, going from a past of doubt to a future of abundance, he has committed the last 3 years empowering others to focus on what they want using hypnosis, NLP, and timeline therapy. He believes using these tools can bring more efficiency, better relationships, more money, and fill your life up with everything that you value that is important to you. Having confidence and endless motivation towards going towards this is easily achievable. He is the author of 2 books, How to Let Go of Negative Emotions and Pro Hypnosis Scripts. Ooh, I gotta check these out. Yes, he has spoken at universities, sharing the power of hypnosis, building rapport, NLP, and how to use the unconscious mind to create positive change and long lasting success. Yes. He is the co founder of Athens NLP Studies, where they currently train students across the US, Canada, and Europe. He believes when you focus on what you want, the results you achieve are superb. Yes, woo-hoo-hoo. And he's a powerhouse. Love it. Love that, Alex. Okay, well, jumping on in now that we know your background and what you're bringing here today, can you tell us your story and what actually led you to be doing what it is you do today?
Obviously, that the bio sounds like a bunch of success, but I went through a bunch of things like anyone else. Kind of what led me into what I'm doing today is in 2017. I pretty much lost everything at that time. I went bankrupt, had another failed relationship. And so I was kind of searching. I moved back home with some family and just kind of dove deep inside myself, like, what can I do? And a few people had told me, like, why don't you, I've always kind of had a real relaxed, even keel, like, why don't you, try hypnosis? And so I started researching hypnosis. And then one day I went on Facebook, and I actually wanted to do NLP too. They kind of go hand in hand. So I thought, why don't I just search NLP trainers on Facebook? And a few popped up. I messaged them and said, hey, like, I want to join your training. So I got on the phone and went from there. So just kind of, I mean, when you lose everything, you figure that's when you make the biggest changes. So it was well worth it. So that's kind of where I came from. I made some bad decisions, but the best thing is you get to learn from all that and then share all the knowledge that you gained and empower others to do the same as well. So
Absolutely.
it leads to a happy place. Yeah.
So that 2017 wasn't that long ago.
Oh,
Yeah, wow, you've made leaps and bounds with just in these, handful of years, complete turnaround. So going through bankruptcy, finding yourself in that place, right? That rock bottom.
yeah.
Oh, we know where that's like. We know that space. So you were there, bankruptcy, just lost a relationship, having to move back with family. Oh, man, I know that feeling. So there
You
you
know,
were. Mm.
yeah. So you're there, and for me, like, there's so many emotions involved when you go through something like that. So
Yeah.
you get to experience a little bit of kind of everything. I was anxious. I had some fear because when you lose everything, you're like, oh, what could possibly happen next? How can I get out of this? And uh, so you experience all these different emotions, and then you just have to start choosing. That's when I kind of just started reading a bunch of self-help books and things like that as well. And I really started to try to find my own happiness, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. I feel your energy is so calm. It is so calm. I love how you mentioned that. Your family even mentioned that to you before. You're kind of cool. But what I've noticed, because my husband is like that too, he's very calm presence. But back in his days, there was a lot of rumble underneath that, right? Is that all those emotions? Let's dive. You were experiencing anxiety then, but that's probably wasn't the first time, right?
No, it wasn't. Probably like the first time I had anxiety was probably around like junior year of high school, I would say. So I was probably like 16. I don't even know what caused it then, but
Yeah.
I had it, and then kind of throughout, I went to college and everything kind of throughout then. I don't know if I was just not sure of what I wanted to do at that time. I haven't really thought about what may have caused it, but yeah, it's just kind of different things trigger it. And then too, during the bankruptcy I used to have hypertension as well, which is high blood pressure. So, for someone that doesn't know the technical terms. So, you start having those, and then things with your health. It wasn't, I did have to go to the hospital just once because it's, skyrocketed a bit. But, obviously anxiety, all these things, they can trigger different emotions, different feelings in your body. That's what I try to tell people when they first get anxious, especially to notice where they feel it in their body, because there's going to be some sort of physical reaction or symptom, in their body. And if they notice it there, and they could, focus on breathing or something like we did before we started, then they might be able to tune it before they start ruminating on their thoughts and, go down the rabbit hole of anxiety again.
Yeah, that's such good advice, and just a reflection of taking notice when you are in stress. It's all stress, whether it triggers anxiety, the depression, whatever ill emotion. There's also that physical manifestation that happens immediately.
Yeah.
Yours was hypertension, right? The high blood pressure. Um, can we dive? So what are all? Let's go back. If you take yourself back, Alex, I know this was some time ago, but you put
Mhm.
yourself back there where, can you remember or share with us some of those big fears and resistance that you suffered from before you had your big breakthrough? It looks like in 2017 you were
Yeah.
breaking through and taking the steps forward. But what held you back? We had
Um,
anxiety, but
One of the things I think that held me back is I used to run this story in my mind before I'd go to sleep of like, oh, how much money am I going to have in a month? How much, if I do this, how much money am I going to have in like 6 months? But the problem is I was doing it with like little amounts and things like this. And then I was like, oh, well, what happens if I don't have that?
yeah.
What happens if, so you're doing like this, you're almost having this motivation where you're only going away from poverty as opposed to you're going towards abundance. And everyone's motivated by a way in towards, and to some extent, especially me back then. But when you're always continually going away from something and you don't necessarily solve the problem, your chances are you're going to find yourself in it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think that was one of the knowing the things I know now, that was one of the big mistakes that I made then.
So you found yourself running from pain a lot.
Yes,
Mm.
is instead of going towards something that I wanted to focus on, because during that time like you even said, like I'm a calm guy. People pick up on that, and that's great. But I was living in a chaotic situation that wasn't me, and so even when you're like, oh, think about that, I'm like, oh God. And
Yeah.
so I thrive in peace. Obviously life can be a bumpy ride, but we can choose to how big those bumps are going to be to a certain extent, based on a lot of choices and small things that we do each
Yeah.
day, and decisions that we make will you know even that out to feel a calm, peaceful um, reality, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So just getting this beautiful picture of who Alex is. Because it really helps. We're all nodding our heads and we're like, oh my gosh, yes. We hold a lot of it in. Some of us are calm, surface level, but then at some point it pops. And, and a lot of that starts with the thoughts in the mind. So you were taking it right before bed. You would go and just stew on kind of all those thoughts of like, I won't have enough of this. What am I going to do about this? Am I going to be able to make it for this? Ugh, those are so stressful and detrimental to our health and well-being. And like what you said, our future creations. Because if we spend our time running from whatever we're running from, we're resisting it, then we're creating it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's when you had that big breakdown finally in 2017 where it just all came to a crumble. Wow.
Eventually what can happen. And it's just because you said it, I thought of it. I did hold, I'm a Virgo at heart. So I always have a couple close people in my life and I each tell them like certain things, but I usually don't share too much with the whole world. So I was holding in a lot of boundaries, comments that I should have made, things I wanted to tell how I felt, things like this. And then you hold them in and then eventually, that's it. So that's one of the things I am really, I'm still working on it to this day, to have like that inner strength and that personal power to, set boundaries and tell people how I feel and tell them what I want, how I expect to be treated, because I have no problem at all treating people how they want to be treated. So, but you have to let people know. People aren't just going to see you and go, yeah, we need to do this way. So.
Yes. What did you said you're a what at heart? I missed it.
A Virgo. That's my
Virgo.
son.
My
Virgo,
goodness,
yeah.
that's my husband too. Yes, I totally read that. This is, and there's a lot of us have Virgo somewhere in us, and so we can relate to that. I can feel that so peaceful, but that kindness could be taken for weakness. And sometimes we don't want to ruffle feathers, or we don't want to upset people, or almost feel like we don't want to push away people at the same time. So we hold back and we sort of play small. But it is that pressure cooker. I experienced that in my life too. It's like, okay, we'll keep holding it, we'll hold it, we'll hold it. And then one day it just, the lid flies off.
That was my strategy for years. So that's one of the things you learn in NLP, that we have a strategy for everything we do. And all it takes is simple little minor tweaks to the strategy, just to, if you felt something, instead of like talking to yourself, you can talk to someone else, and all of a sudden you get better results. So, but all those things led me to, where I'm today. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm happy to, let other people know and feel the way I do now because of these things. If these things didn't happen, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So you never know.
I really believe they have to happen.
Yes.
Experiences have to happen. I'm going so off course right now, but I'm feeling it. I'm channeling through that this is such a big need of what you were so vulnerable about and you're pouring into. Someone who has trouble expressing themselves. They have a heart of gold. They love supporting others. They love promoting other things. They love taking care of other people. They're insightful. They're deep. They're so wise. But getting it out, getting that out and sharing that with their kids, with their partners, with the world. What would you tell them now, you being that person that knows firsthand, Alex, what it's like to hold your words and wisdom back, to finally be able to take the lid off and be your authentic self? What would you tell that person right now that wants to do that?
I just read a book recently. It was something to do with coaching. I can't think of the title, but it was, there was like 7 questions in there. And one of them said, like, if you're constantly saying yes to everyone, then what are you saying no to? Because then if you're always, yes, I'll do that, or yes, I'll do this, then you're saying no to a bunch of other things that you might want to do. So, it could be as simple as just telling people, you know what, no. Or you ask them like another question to kind of get them off track a bit, and what would happen if this, or what challenges are you facing? And then they start thinking about it like, I can get someone else to do this. So saying no to people, I mean, I wish I I wish I would have done that many times. I mean, but there's plenty of other things that you can do, but I would say that's like just running little questions in your mind quickly and just
Yeah.
telling someone how you feel. Because once you do something once, it's like if even if you offer a service and you raise your price, I mean, how many times are you actually scared the first time you tell someone the price? So if you're telling someone no, like one time, once you go like, oh, well, that's how they reacted, cool. Now I can say no to them like all the time, within reason, of course, too. You don't have to be silly about it or anything. But I would say that's an easy thing that anyone can do.
It builds your confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, the each time. So it's just kind of building up the courage enough to say no. And I love how, and I've heard this before too, is when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else.
Mhm.
And so just thinking about that, I also like to think about a lot of times we enable others by doing it all for them or just being super nice and super giving and ourselves of them. We're depriving them of something they could do and learn and experience themselves. So I think about that enabling piece. I think that was able to help me too.
Mhm.
And then starting small, you're saying just like say no once or talk loud once and
Mhm.
see, right? See what that
Yeah,
does. And you're like, oh, that's not that bad.
it
Right?
feels good actually. So, yeah, enabling. I mean, I've been in some enabling situations myself, and I guess one of the things too, you can just find like the same type of people that have what you want, and build a new circle of people. That's one of the things I did. I kind of got away from a lot of people that weren't a positive influence on me, and I started building new relationships. That's something that everyone can do too, especially with the internet, with Facebook groups. With There's so many ways to you know meet people and find people with a common interest, goal, or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's good. We become we're a product of our environment, but we are
Yeah.
our top five friends as well. And so, like scientifically proven, you guys, even your income. Isn't that crazy? So,
Yeah.
thinking about the top five people that are around you. So, if that's something, if you want to be more expressive, that's something I did too. Looks like Alex is doing as well. Is that if we're noticing an area that we want to shift in, finding that person or outlet, something around us, even a book, I noticed something, videos of that trait that you're desiring and kind of immerse yourself into it and it'll slowly start to become more of you. So very powerful. Surrounding yourself with the people that you look up to. Okay. Love that, love that. Okay. So I know you work with so many folks. You guys follow him on social media too. I'm a follower of his, love his work. Um, can you share with us a client testimonial, a personal story of someone that you were able to help go
Yeah.
from where they were into their happiness?
This one, it's nothing that's like a huge thing, but it could be a huge thing for that person that I worked with. It was a kind of a friend in the neighborhood, and she actually, her dog passed away, and so she felt a lot of different emotions, and so I worked with her, and she could hardly even speak without you know breaking out crying because of the dog and everything. And I was like, okay, like I just have to listen, work a bit slower, and because hypnosis, they like to say change happens so fast, but whatever it takes with that particular person, with the compassion and all that. And so gradually we worked forward, built some happiness within, after getting rid of letting go of some of the emotions and things like that. And then she got a she ended up getting like a new job. She had started having like all this confidence, and it's always the side effects of hypnosis. It's like they end up doing all these things when you never. I didn't tell her to, like, hey, go do this or go do that, but then they realize once they get rid of something they don't want, they have so much room now to fill up their life with all these happy and great things. So it sounds simple. And too, like, shoot, I don't know if I could get a dog and this and that. And actually, before I moved to Greece, um, she had a dog for quite a while. So it was amazing to see that she was able to do that. It sounds so simple, but I figured, hey, why not? People love animals, it's a fun one. There's some people are like, oh, a dog, So
Yeah, fur
yeah,
babies,
yeah,
absolutely. These are family members, and there's so many of us. At some point, all of us will
yeah.
experience this if we have not.
Yeah, I could have said, oh, I helped this person. They made a bunch of money, but I mean, sometimes that's boring. So I figured this is a more personal story.
Yeah.
It's money, but everyone likes dogs too. Maybe everyone loves dogs, I guess you could say.
Yes, yes, no, that's real because any sort of grief on any level, it's powerful
Mhm.
to know that, whether it's your fur baby or a real loved one or friend, someone in your life that passes on. I call it a graduation on, but
Mhm.
is no longer here, and that becomes something that we have to then sit with and adjust with. It's a selfish process because I feel our fur babies, whoever it is, and me and millions of others around the world, that they're not suffering. They're actually in the full essence and joy and light of who they are. But it's
Yeah.
us that are feeling the loss and the pain in that. So that is a very real thing to speak about. To have your friend go from that place where she couldn't even stop crying
Mhm.
whenever talking about her fur baby, to then breaking through that, feeling that peace and happiness come back to her enough to even get another fur baby.
Yeah. It's amazing. Because yeah, when I first was working with her, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is going to be take a lot of patience just to you have to let them get it out. Like there was nothing else to do, so I was like kind of like, okay, should I even like push forward? And then we started we had a rapport, of course, so I figured, okay, we can move forward. We're making baby steps at first, and then yeah, they start achieving all these other goals that didn't even have to do with the original thing. That's what I love to see, is like they start flourishing in all these aspects of life when they didn't even
Yep.
you know, discuss that at first. So it's super cool to see.
I've seen that thousands of times.
Amazing.
We'll come in, all of us too. I think we experience this. We'll come in for some sort of overcoming or healing, whatever our goal is, for seeing even a friend, not even just a therapist. And it's an energetic process of when you're healing. I love how you said make space, because when we release some heavy weight in our body, it's all connected. So if
Mhm.
you make room, here you are allowing all the goodness that you're tuning into to come in. So yes, your heart heals, but other beautiful things come in. I'm curious, how many sessions, and did you just use hypnosis? Did you integrate the NLP?
Yeah, I
What's
did.
your practice?
Um, I don't know. I probably did uh, probably like 6 to 10 sessions. I don't know the exact amount. It was a bit ago, but I did use a little bit of everything. I used some timeline therapy to get rid of anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. That's what that process does, as well as there's a different method in that kind of helps them set a goal, as well as get rid of any limiting beliefs or decisions. So I used quite a bit of that. And then I did some hypnosis for happiness, of course, relating it to the things that she told me that she wanted to achieve. And so I came up with creative ways to do that, and then did some anchoring and stacking a bunch of good states on top of each other. So, so they go from one thing, then they end up being having that. I like to say endless motivation. I usually just hear motivation. I like to say endless, because once you know what you want, I mean, or something that's important to you,
Mhm.
that you value, you're going to put any and all of your resources into achieving that with endless motivation. So,
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Write this down, you guys. I'm taking notes. I hope you are too. These are great, just nuggets of gold. And it's not you guys, you might hear 6 to 10 sessions. And I always have to like shed light on this. That person could have been grieving the loss of her pet for a very long time. 6 to 10 sessions is just 6 hours.
mhm.
After 6 hours, literally, of this healing work, you can experience transformation, great work. And all of that, even this energy work that we're doing here, you showed up and you're watching this. Believe me, this is great energy work that is happening. This wisdom that is being poured into you. You never know what
Yeah.
cognitions and revelations are going to happen after this episode ends.
Mhm.
So I just had to say that because I'm feeling the energy work. This
I
is,
think I think people should. I mean, I know that change can happen so fast. I just think to like reinforce things, not because I want to keep clients for a long time or anyone should want to do that for any reason. I think it's just good for them and their future and their results to work a bit longer just to make sure that they're going to be on the right track once we kind of part ways. That's my opinion, because that's what I do myself. I'm working with people, a coach I have a coach, and then I go to a hypnotist myself, and
mm,
I think I'm going on like my fifth session now. So I'm like, and I'm working on. I started with one thing, and now I'm working on something else that's going. So that's why I recommend it to other people, because I do it myself, and I only like to share things that I personally think work and do. I'm not going to say something just to, okay, yeah, like please give me a client because I said this. I like to be 100% honest to let people know that's what I would do. So
yeah. And that's why you're on this show. You know, it truly, truly, like minds attract. And it's so important that I believe I'm speaking to the audience is that you have a story. Each and every one of us has a story. We have a background, we have a past. And I believe all of those things are really divine. They have great purpose in there. Being able to experience all that you have experienced in your life right now is what is making you who you are today, but
yeah,
also able to help so many other people. So many other people, right? And you'll never know when you'll be able to reach in that tool bag and say, "Oh yeah, I've grieved before. Oh yeah, I've had a heartbreak. I've been lied to. I've had bankruptcy. I've had, all these different things. We all have these things." And so I hope that gives you a little something there too, of just knowing that, oh, it's going to serve you. If it isn't already, you're going to see how your past is serving you, just like Alex. Through
hmm,
firsthand experience is where our, true leadership and true coaching and helping comes from, is like hitting the ground running ourselves.
yeah.
So a lot of power in that. Okay, next, I'm getting sidetracked. This is so good, you guys. So what would you tell the person that they're suffering from anxiety? Because
Hmm.
you know that very well. Anxiety runs rampant with all the different stressors, and let's not even talk about. We all know what's going on in the world today. We're all in a brand new place of contrast. A lot of new anxieties are popping up, or people are actually feeling this now, this new term for the first time, and are saying it and feeling this in their body. So, say this person is feeling that. They're feeling the overwhelm, the stress, the palpitations. They're actually going through
Yeah.
it, panic attack, even in various degrees. But they want to embody more of their happiness on a consistency basis. Speak into that soul right now that is looking for that information.
Well, I look at anxiety as obviously of the physical and all that, but it's also, I think, connected psychologically to fear. So to me, like once I kind of released a lot of fear, I got rid of anxiety myself. So you have to find if you need to work with someone or whatever you need to do, I would say kind of tackle, kind of what you fear in life and find ways to get beyond that. And you'll probably see that your anxiety goes a lot lower. So that's one thing that you can do. As well as anxiety, since it's all future based. A lot of people they're anxious about something that hasn't even happened yet. So if they can maybe find a way to, say they have to fly on a plane or whatever it is, if they can find a way to kind of keep visualizing that event already like successfully happen, like 15, 20 minutes after, to see like, okay, I completed that. Then they will probably see that the anxiety can easily subside if it's tied to a specific event. I would do visualization works because you can kind of go like if I help people who need to help sleep if they have anxiety at night before bed, it's like get out of bed and visualize like a line in anxiety like on the other side, and then like imagine yourself like slowly like getting further and further and further away from it. Kind of change the what we would say like the picture we have in our mind, the submodalities, and next thing you know, they're so far away from that fear and anxiety, they don't necessarily feel it anymore. So visualization and getting rid of fear, I would say. But if you can recognize the physical symptom and then work on your breathing and have an immediate reaction, chances are it won't ever progress past that, in my experience as well.
Yeah. Okay. You listed a handful of amazing tips. So I'm going to recap those. First, being aware of what you're afraid of. What
Mhm.
is, I'm getting away from the word trigger, but what is causing that manifestation of anxiety in your body? Just becoming aware. I think a lot of times we aren't aware of what just happened because maybe it just is on autopilot. Subconsciously, consciously came in. Maybe it's just tied to going to bed. If you notice, sometimes a lot of things are by association. So becoming, I think, owning your power in that moment and finding out, what am I really afraid of? And you can actually probably dissipate that on your own, or get a coach, get a therapist, get someone that you really trust and connect with. And then the visualization piece is so huge, you guys, because the mind doesn't know if it's happening or not. It just sits in a black box. So it's like being able to visualize yourself. Say you said that future thought,
Mhm.
something we're having anxiety about because tomorrow, something that may happen tomorrow. Visualize that thing going the way you want. That's powerful. And we do this for pre-pavement. If you guys don't understand, like, how, okay, but what when tomorrow comes, am I still anxious? We're actually creating how we're going to react. We're creating a new persona, a new perception, actually a new creation in our mind right now of, and you'll be surprised how tomorrow will turn out almost very similar to what you visualized.
Yeah, because they're running the same story over and over in their head. And did they ever try to run a different one? So,
Mm.
that's
See
the
what
thing.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And then the chord work. I haven't heard of that one yet, so I'm very intrigued. So, how this will work is that the person sees themselves, and then they see a rope and like the word anxiety.
Or like a line, like they're
Okay.
standing behind like a line, and then yeah, if it's I mean, it may depend on the person. Maybe they when they do you have a picture of anxiety? Maybe it could be a word. It could be because our unconscious mind loves symbols and words. So maybe it's that, or maybe it's something else. But if they kind of imagine themselves kind of backing away from that and getting further and
Mm,
further away, then
okay.
it's um, you know many times we hey, you have this, and then if you shove it far off in the distance, it has a totally different story or meaning to it.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the person. Not every single little technique works for 100% of the people. That's why for me, I'm actually not the biggest visualizer. I'm literally looking at a black box. I don't see a bunch of colors and all this, but when you start attaching like sounds and feelings and all that to it, then I see things better. And as long as you're using your mind, you're technically visualizing whether or not you see like the most detailed, vivid, bright picture or not. So,
Yeah. That really helps a lot of us, no matter where we're on the spectrum of visualization. I'm super vivid, and then going from the black box, which is super cool, anywhere in between. If we could just get a word. Sometimes I think for the ones that are super visual, you can see yourself in even
mhm.
that anxious state. You can see the energy even. I see a lot of energy, so you could probably see that. And when you were talking, Alex, I imagine it going further away till it was like this tiny little speck, like this little bitty speck way over there,
Yeah.
so like that our minds work by association. So if it's literally leaving and your mind doesn't know if it's really ever, if it's really happening or not, but in your mind you're seeing it fading away, there's going to be some reaction. But I like how you're saying it's not one shoe fits all. Give these things a go, right? And
Yeah,
see.
some of them you might like. That one might be a little more of a like a quick fix, like that you might have to run over and over and over. But if
Mhm.
you find like the cause of the fear and do all that, like that would be like probably a bigger breakthrough in my opinion. But some of the
Yeah.
other ones might be just you might have to keep running those pictures and all that. And that's why hypnosis and all these things are great, because you teach clients these skills and then they have them. So if something happens in between when you see each other, then you talk to people, they're like, oh, I did that and it totally worked or something. So it just
Mhm.
depends on the person. One size fits all. That's not how it works, definitely. So, which
Yeah.
is a good thing, I think, because then it's more fun.
Yes. Try it out. You guys try it out. Breath work too. Do you
Experiment.
have a specific, you mentioned it. Um, I usually like the 4-4-4, the breathe in for 4, hold for
Mhm.
4, out for 4, that one has been around forever in a lot of different folks, even in the military and in sniping and in different fields where you have to keep yourself
Yeah.
grounded. The 4-4-4 is so powerful in releasing anxiety for your body. But do you have another one? Do you use any specific breath work?
Well, uh, since I'm a total feeler, I'm always breathing like in my stomach naturally. But I think a lot of people when they have anxiety, they're they're breathing very shallow and very quickly. So if you actually focus on getting oxygen all the way through to your, filling up your stomach, and your stomach goes out on the in breath and then it goes in on the out breath. If you actually kind of focus on that going all the way through and soothing like your whole upper body, and eventually you start feeling it like even going, I would say that that is super helpful. Obviously, 4-4-4, all those things, but just I don't know. For me, like knowing that it's like filling up and your whole body's getting cleansed,
Can you
instead
do
of
that
those
with us?
shallow breaths, is that's not natural for us. We're supposed to naturally breathe into our stomach, but
Yeah.
so many people aren't actually aware that that's what they're supposed to do, or what they can do easily.
This is so powerful, you guys. This is so powerful. When I first learned about breathing for setting the relaxation response in the body,
Yeah.
a lot of women, we suck in our stomachs. We're taking these little shallow breaths. We're not getting adequate amounts of oxygen in our body. Could you, Alex, walk us through just like one or two deep, mindful breaths here so that way
Yeah.
we can actually experience firsthand the shift in the feelings of our body?
Yeah. So I always, if we, I like to close my eyes too when I breathe. So if we just kind of slowly breathe in through our nose, I like to feel the kind of the coolness and all that. When you breathe in, feel it go through your chest and lungs and all the way through to your stomach. And make sure your stomach is going out on the in breath. And then you can exhale through your mouth, and you'll feel your stomach kind of go in. So stomach's going out, breathing out through your mouth, stomach's going in. Because I like to kind of get the different touching points of the sensations kind of on the nostrils, at least
Yeah.
for me, like feel that coolness. So then you can kind of, you got get used to different senses and sensations of it. And for auditory people, they may listen and think it sounds really cool, or feel different things. It just depends on what our main thing is. But I like to focus on my breathing through all the way through to my stomach.
Okay.
Just
I,
feels good.
I I love that. I can actually feel that there was some tension in my body, and now the tension's gone. I know that because I feel a little weirdness in my shoulders, and that's usually when we like let them go and we let them drop a little bit. It's like,
I
oh,
was going to say, like, almost drop your shoulders too. Let your chin kind of, when
mhm,
you're breathing like that, your chin kind of naturally wants to drop a bit. And our
mhm.
shoulders, just from whatever we're doing, it probably is carrying tension, just like if I'm doing progressive muscle relaxation, I always tell the person, like, oh, your legs too. Like, it's probably a tension point because our legs are holding up our body and doing all these things. So there's different, so
Yeah.
when you breathe, you're gonna feel that tension go, and you could breathe in calmness, exhale. You can give your exhale tension, whatever. You can add that into it if you want.
I love that. Breathe in calmness. That's usually what I tell my client friends is I love the coolness on the nose. I've never felt that until now. But all of that brings, I know what you're doing. You're bringing us all into the moment. You guys, if we can think about right here and right now, we're slowing down the thoughts and we're coming here. It's really energizing our body to not have scattered energy everywhere. Just coming here, senses. Sometimes it's weird for us, certainly some of us ladies, to blow out our belly like there's a balloon in there, but then and then to let it go. We're using muscles and parts of our
Yeah.
body that we normally wouldn't. So it takes a lot of focus, which is
And
great.
that's, yeah, focused attention. And that's
Mm.
when you have focused attention on things, you're going to get better and better and get better results too. So
Yeah. Yeah. Calm down all that busy
then
energy.
it'll become a habit. So even
Mm.
better. Yeah.
And you see, you guys, and I want you to comment, like, Send us an email. Do you feel any difference in your muscles, in your even emotion, and your physically, emotionally, even spiritually, with just that 1 minute of deep breathing? I would love to get that over to Alex too. So if you guys had any feelings, let us know. I always want to hear what you guys are feeling. Um, Alex, I had a flyby thought. I'll leave it though. Okay, next question. One happy hack would say you get out of alignment somehow. Maybe you're going through the day, you get down, you're feeling upset, whatever it is there something that you do that quickly gets you back into that feeling good or calm, happy state?
There is something, and I've actually been doing it in the last probably month or so, and I can actually do it without the actually using my hands, but it's kind of a way to like collapse and anchor. So if you kind of have these bad thoughts, these bad feelings coming up, I choose my right hand for those. And when you kind of imagine those bad thoughts and feelings, and you clench your fist for about 10 seconds as you think of that, and then when you're done, you let go. Then you think of all the good things that you have done or want to do. I kind of tend to focus on the same thing each time. Then you hold for 10 seconds in the opposite hand. And then once it kind of done peaking, you let go of that. Then you hold both at the same time for 10 seconds, and then you let go at the same time. And scientifically, the way that works is because we thought of the happy, good things second. That's what's actually creating the new neural pathway. So I do this, and it's funny because now I almost just, all I have to do is look up, because when we look up, we actually access our visual. So now I just go, okay, like bad thought, good thought. And I just do it like that now without using the hands, because I did it I consistently did it like throughout the day, every time I thought of something, and I immediately felt better. So that's something that takes, 10 seconds, up to a minute, so.
That is powerful. And there is a lot of science behind balancing the right and left hemispheres as you're doing that, or release and reprogram as you're doing that. That's a technique I do with my clients, very similar with the hands. So just visualizing, you guys, just to recap on that, you can put anything that is creating the anger or anxiety or whatever it is, even the word, and you're just kind of crunching, you're holding on to it. It's getting smaller and smaller. I like to think it's dissipating, just like crushing down in the hand. And then with the left hand, with this one first, you let it go. I like how you just kind of let it go and bring up what you do want, embody that, hold that in, feel it, think about what's in your hand. And then I've never seen this one, but I like this. So then now you put two hands up?
Yeah, I do both. Like sometimes, I'll do it sometimes if I'm out, if I have a bad thought, and you just go like this. Like I don't care if someone's looking at me, and then when you let them go at the same time, it's just the neural pathways are recreating with the one that happened last, which is the good one. So it's super easy, but it's just, since I would call that a hack, since it's quick and simple and easy to do. So
it's a hack. I love it. That's powerful. No one needs to know what we're doing.
No.
Hey, if it works, it works.
If you told them, they would probably look at you like you were crazy anyway, but that's a good thing. So
good. Teach them. We're sharing these tips with everyone. Do it. I love that. I'm going to try it. Give that one a go too. Alex, so now we're going to go right into what you are giving away to our amazing audience.
Yeah, actually, I did write. You mentioned that you had to get one of the books, so I'm actually giving that away. But it's inside of I wrote like another. It's like 6 different steps that people that I've kind of found when working with them. The 6 different things that they want to do to kind of achieve. I like to say it's efficiency, because they can make changes quickly, and then in the future, just because they got rid of a lot of that, those negative emotions and limiting decisions, then they can achieve more things efficiently because they have that room, that space. So it basically goes through the steps. It's like a 20-page ebook and it gets into detail and all that about how they can achieve efficiency and create the future that they want. And then at the end, I have like my information in there, along with a link to my other book that I've actually been giving away for a bit because I just love people to have the information, to be honest.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah.
that is so beautiful. 20-page ebook. That's deep. I
Yeah,
love that.
it ended up being like I think around 10,000 words. So I was just like, I like writing. It's gets me in a flow. It's creative, and then you never know. So if one person reads it and they reach out to you, which people do, you're like, they liked reading it. It makes it all worth it. So, you know,
When you said that, I thought about for those that, it's a great outlet of expressing and getting, your voice out and really just transforming in yourself. Writing too is another technique that we're adding now on to one of your tips because I can see now of all you guys, I know how Virgos and every one of us that just can't really it's one of our lessons to learn how to be expressive. You guys are so wise, so
yeah,
wise, so brilliant, so tuned in. So writing is just one of those effortless things that you can just pour in that. So what I'm saying, long story short, I know that's a 20-page magical book and I want everyone to get it. Please get it. It leads to more gold. So get that
yeah,
book, you guys. Connect with Alex. He is on Instagram. You're on Facebook as well.
yeah. And
Um,
YouTube, I post. Me and my wife, we have a channel, and we post. We have like over 100 meditations on there now. So, um, I like to focus on YouTube quite a bit, but I mean, I love all the platforms, but Athens NLP Studies, the name of our company, is actually the name of the channel. So,
okay. Oh,
if
that's good. Yes.
anyone has anything, go listen to all the tons of free meditations on there that people love. So,
Mm.
and somehow the high blood pressure one that I did for mine has the most views. So I don't know if that was something, but I love when people are like, oh, it lowered my blood pressure. I'm like, cool. It's cool. So
You know why? That firsthand experience
yeah.
you talked about, right? You're leading the way. That was spoke with the realness of your transformation. It had a lot more power. I don't know. That's my insight. Okay, you guys, check it out. Go to his YouTube page as well. And thank you, Alex, for your time, everything you shared here on the show. That was beautiful. Thank you again for these tips and your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it. And if anyone just learned like one thing, then it's totally worth it. So, and apply it as well. Take action and focus on what you want, and that's how you'll get the results, I think. So,
Absolutely. Heard it here first. Thank you so much. And thank you for tuning in and watching. May you never be the same. I would love to hear your comments, revelations, feelings of this video. Just hit reply on the email. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye bye.